Welcome to Inside Real Estate. My name is Michael Kryton, and of course, always in the hot seat, our real estate expert, real estate speaker, Mr. Terry Paranych, and we've got a special edition where we are now going to be joined by David Staples from the Edmonton Journal. He's an award-winning journalist and a best-selling author. He's been writing for the Journal since 1985, won 2 national newspaper awards, including one for his part in the coverage of James Roscoe's mass murder of 4 RCMP officers. His hockey blog is the Cult of Hockey has been the most popular sports blog in the Post Media Network, but we're talking to him about something different today, and it connects certainly to his other blog, the Edmonton Commons, which focuses on urban affairs in Edmonton. I want to welcome you to the program, David.
Hey, thanks for having me. Well,
we know that the arena story here in Edmonton has been going on for some time now, and in one of your recent blog posts, you referred to it as saber rattling. Is downtown revitalization sort of getting back into the weeds as a result of the saber rattling between Northlands City Council and the Cates Group?
You know, this city council that we have now is, I think, really dedicated towards revitalizing the downtown. There's some huge and passionate advocates for the downtown on council, and Stephen Mandel, Van Henderson, Kim Krischel, to name a few of them, Don Iveson as well. So there's all kinds of people who want, they realize downtown has been badly, sorely neglected for a long time. It's been a bit of a cash cow for the rest of the city, lots of taxes taken out, not much done to improve downtown. And this is why they support the Downtown Arena project and have been pushing hard for years now to get this to go ahead. It's been a long, difficult process. It started in 2006. A huge fight over 5 years.
Well, with lots of anniversaries to celebrate, and I hope not too many more. We know that Premier Stelmach is meeting with Mandel specifically today, and I'm just wondering, is that going to help move that process forward?
The province is being asked for $100 million of new infrastructure money for the city of Edmonton, which the city of Edmonton would then use to, build a project which it deems to be crucial, and that's the downtown arena. So this is a key moment for the project. It will be a big blow if Stelmach refuses that kind of investment in Edmonton's downtown.
Well, I'm going to turn the tables a little bit, David. David Staples is our guest. He is a writer for the Edmonton Journal. He has 2 blogs, one, The Cult of Hockey, the other one, the Edmonton Commons, which focuses on urban affairs in Edmonton. Let's turn the tables. I'm going to turn you into the interviewer now that you're the journalist, because we have Mr. Terry Paranych, who's our real estate expert and has been very familiar with the evolution of what has been going on, certainly in Edmonton, for many years. What would you like to ask him from a real estate perspective in terms of how this relates to downtown?
Well, the big question is this going to spur downtown revitalization? And if so, how will that happen?
Well, David, and, I know that I've had this discussion with so many people over the course of the last year. And the truth is there are several developers, in the greater Edmonton area, some, many local, some that are not local, that have looked at this and said, we all have our finger on the trigger, waiting for the grand announcement that the arena is officially going ahead 150%. And me being one of them, and it's something that people often say, well, Terry, why don't the developers? And I know, David, you've mentioned this in some of your columns, which I very much appreciate. Why don't the developers just get the cranes in the ground and get the holes in the ground and start these projects flowing? One of the challenges that many of us face is that the financial institutions have their finger on that same trigger, waiting for this grand announcement, because when you're looking at large multi-unit investment development in a downtown core that has suffered for a long time, and again, I agree with you, this council has done a very good job, and economic development downtown, the different organizations downtown, the Chamber of Commerce have done a great job, specifically over the last 10 years in trying to improve the downtown, have the redevelopment be more proactive. But the fact of the matter is, when we look at unit sales, we had a market in 2007 that was very, very rabid and active. and we had a lot of sales, and as the market changed, we had a lot of people back out of those preemptive deals that they got involved in. So now the financial institutions are saying there has to be something that's going to truly spark the overall development, and that's definitely the arena. So we all kind of have our finger on the same trigger, waiting for this. And I can assure you, David, that once that happens, we're going to see activity downtown like we saw in the oil craze boom of the 1970s.
Absolutely.
Now, as you know, 104th Street is quite a nice little area in downtown. Yes. There's a couple blocks right off Jasper Avenue where they've done a really nice job with design, and there's some real activity on the street there. If I'm not mistaken, and maybe if I am, you can correct me on this, but there's a parcel of land that you own on 104th Street, or that a company that you're involved with owns. There's a parking lot there.
Yes,
and yes. One of the things I've heard that might happen is that you would go ahead on that parcel of land if the Arena District proceeds. Now, that's not in the Arena District. Why would you proceed? Will you proceed with it if the Arena District goes ahead, and what do you have planned there? What are you thinking about that?
Well, that particular parcel, yes, I'm involved with a couple of parties on that, and we were looking at two specific towers, grand towers. One would exceed 40 stories, another one 50 stories. And we've looked at many unique kind of urban concepts, and 104th has just become a wonderful section of downtown Edmonton. And so the concept there would be to have sort of an urban style, but yet a very affordable style of multi-unit housing, high ceilings, hardwood floors, more like a garage style. Main access for retail, where you could have food and beverage, an open air market, something really cool. But again, the magnitude of a project like that exceeds well over $100 million. And again, it's something that, despite, yes, I've done very well in the real estate business, but I definitely need to see a true revitalization, and the Arena would certainly help us drive people there, because there still is an abundance of condo inventory, David, downtown that still hasn't sold. So the Arena development, or the overall entertainment district development, will certainly spur not only our project in a positive direction, but several others.
So you can't say for sure, like, if the Arena District went ahead, that project would go ahead for sure. But that's the kind of thing that would have a much better chance.
Well, there's a much better chance of securing the necessary financing, to definitely, get started. And I have a whole pre-sale, package ready to go. But again, a lot of it comes down to financing. And I know in this particular case, as well as some other developers, we're just waiting for that trigger to be pulled. And hopefully, Mr. Stelmach will come to the table today. And I certainly recommend that he does.
Let's turn the questions back to you, David. In a recent blog you wrote, Northland pushes self-interest, not public interest, in Arena deal. Do you think their saber rattling is going to drag on for some time, or is it going to just eventually fizzle, in your opinion?
I vote fizzle. It's not a great, they have a business there, the concert business. It's been up and down. Up and down. They've had some good years. It's hard to say. I think what essentially has to happen is they do have a contract, a lease on the building till 2034. That's a valid lease. So, and they have needs as an organization. They've been good to the city in a lot of ways for a long time, and the city, they're the city's carrying a $60 million loan on the Expo Center for them. So the city's deeply involved with Northlands, you might say. So the city Northlands has to be reasonable, figure out exactly what this business is worth, this concert business is worth, and figure out a way to keep Northlands viable. They can't run that concert business. It's very difficult to run that concert business if the downtown Arena goes ahead. It's going to take a big chunk out of it. It's very difficult to make a profit. They can't be bleeding more red ink from their concert business, as well as a number of other ventures, such as horse racing. So I just think there's a solution here. This isn't a deal breaker. This isn't fireworks. It's just coming up with a sensible solution, and I think that's what's going to happen.
Now, when is Stelmach meeting with Mandel? Is he meeting as we speak, or is that this afternoon?
1 o'clock today at Government House. So.
Oh, well, we know where you're going, so I guess I guess we should give you the opportunity to make sure that gets covered from your perspective. Certainly, I want to thank you for joining us for this discussion, David Staples, who is a journalist with the Edmonton Journal, and if you want to read more of his take on what's going on in Edmonton, especially as it relates to things like the arena, I encourage you out there to read the Edmonton Commons, which focuses on urban affairs in Edmonton, and if you're a hockey fan, he does write a bit about sports, I would have to say, all right? A sports blog in the one of the biggest in the Post Media Network, and it's known as the Cult of Hockey. David Staples, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
So, Terry, let's sort of debrief now that we've had a chance to sort of get a sense of what's going on. Let me ask you this. If it weren't going to be moving forward, do you think that there would be any kind of revitalization?
Well, the truth, I mean, Mike, let's cut to the chase. And there's many, politicios, I call them, and they're politics is politics. And the fact of the matter is development's development. And we have to try to marry that together for a proactive solution for the great city of Edmonton. And the fact of the matter is, we've seen our city suffer for a long, long time. And, it's been 20, 25 years. I remember when I was a kid going downtown with my mom and grandmother on a Thursday, and you had storefronts and cafes and all kinds of different things, sporting goods stores, retail establishments. I mean, it was a downtown. I just returned from Seattle and saw two amazing facilities that completely revitalized basically an old shipyard area, and all the warehouses have been converted to food and beverage establishment, bars, restaurants, wonderful retail locations. And I was doing some speaking in Seattle, and my family and I ended up spending a ton of time down there. And it was just like I wanted to go in every establishment. It was so great. But, if you do what you always do, you're going to get what you always get. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the messages I send in my seminar business is that, you have to think big to get a result. And, if we're going to continue to wrangle and haggle, Mr. Stelmach, who I've got a great amount of respect for, but the fact of the matter is this benefits the province. We've had tremendous oil and gas revenues over the last 10 years. Our economy took a bit of a dip, but we've continued to move forward. But the fact of the matter is we can make an investment here in Edmonton's downtown, Calgary's downtown. For that matter, some of the other centers, Red Deer, whether it be Lethbridge. But we need to continue to put this province on the map. And Edmonton is the epicenter of Alberta. Yeah. And, when I look at the amazing job that the Cates Group has done and the money that they have spent and, what Daryl Cates has done as an Edmontonian, to keep the team here, to make the investment. And we've got such young, great players. I mean, I'm going to start talking sports now, and I won't be Brian Hull, I'll tell you. But anyway, the fact of the matter is this is a must. There are certain things that are a must, and this is a must. And, we need to continue to support this. And I just hope that Premier Stelmach can, see this and get this deal done.
Well, it seems that, it's his vision now that he's going to be heading out the door soon. I know this is definitely on his plate. He's publicly stated that, I think, quite clearly. Now, when we talk about real estate investment, and I'm thinking for people out there that are looking at, buying property to invest in it, is this a good time to do that, given where the downtown is at?
Buying anything downtown right now, it's kind of a catch-22. Prices have come down, just with our market changing. But, like David had said earlier, 104th Street, we're looking at the new 108th Street development. And, our role as Edmonton developers and builders is to turn all these parking lots into vibrant communities again with great retail and open-air markets and food and beverage establishments. So, now we are going to experience a boom here. There's no question about it with what's happening with the world economy and where I personally feel oil is going. So I'm buying as much as I can, again, in Edmonton. But the fact of the matter, Michael, is that the arena and entertainment district revitalization is an absolute must, and we'll just put our city in another stratosphere as far as where we are and how we're known.
We've got a minute left, and I thought I would ask you, because you do have a company that focuses on infill and revitalizing those areas. But generally speaking, and I mean, you've been doing this for many, many years, so ultimately it's kind of an ongoing process of risk, isn't it?
Well, Mike, I started as a real estate investor when I was 19 years old, right out of high school, and my education has been the education of hard knocks. I don't have a formal education. I went right out of high school and understanding the true merits of real estate from an investment standpoint, a building standpoint. And I've seen what's happened in Edmonton, and I just feel we're so close. We have the greatest opportunity. Our council, as David has said, has done a good job, working the process forward, and they have a great opportunity to leave such a tremendous legacy, and so does Mr. Stelmach. And I really think that it's going to happen. I'm praying that it's going to happen because this city needs it. And again, when I'm not here to advertise the Cates Group in any way, but what I'm saying is when I see an Edmontonian who is a fan first and did well in business and steps up and does what he has done, I really think that we need to support him 150%. So I hope that happens.
Absolutely. You're watching Inside Real Estate with Terry Paranych, real estate expert and speaker. I'd like to thank our guest today who joined us, David Staples, journalist with the Edmonton Journal. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this arena story will play out. I'm sure we will talk about it in shows to come. Sure. Inside Real Estate with Terry Paranych. I'm your host, Michael Kryton.